Hello, everyone. It is Felicia Bender, the Practical Numerologist, and we are talking 2026 today. We are going over the numerology for 2026. In this video in particular, we are looking at the personal year and how it might play out or how you might think about it for integrating it into the number one universal year energy that we are all feeling globally in 2026. So, if you do not know all about the one universal year, if maybe you're new to numerology or you just want a little brush up, I have shared a link below. There is a separate video going over more of the details, more of the nuances for the one universal year. This video is going to look more directly at the personal year and how you might experience that when we are experiencing this one universal year. All right. So let's get started. The personal year cycle. Let's talk about that. In numerology, the personal year cycle, we believe that we go through 9-year cycles throughout our lives, birth to death, and it is called the personal year cycle. In numerology, if we understand the basic defining qualities, the themes, the energies around each of the numbers 1 through 9, we can begin to really plug it in and see how it shows up whenever it shows up, whether it's in our numerology chart or elsewhere, right? So we're going to be going over each year and talk about what energies are actually supporting you, what experiences that you might draw towards you, and maybe where some of the tension points might be, or maybe where some of the challenges or the oppositional pull might show up. So if any of you are new to me, and if those of you who have been with me for a while, thank you. It's great to see you here virtually in whatever way. But what I'm trying to say is that there are two schools of thought. So I'm a numerologist who talks about different ways of thinking, different ways that numerology looks at things. All right. I'm not going to tell you there is only one way to do it. I'm going to give you the choice, the free will to look at different schools of thought. So as far as the personal year, there are to my knowledge, basically two schools of thought around the personal year. Okay. One of them is pretty straightforward, and the other one is a little bit more confusing. Okay. So the two schools of thought are that the first one is that it is the personal year for you individually, runs January 1st through December 31st of any given year. Okay. And it's basically a 12-month calendar year. That's the first school of thought. The second school of thought is that it's more like a a solar return in astrology. If you're astrologically inclined, it's more from, the thought is that it's more from birthday to birthday. So it's more personal to you in terms of your birthday. So how do we think about this? All right, we're going to do the calculations here, give you some examples. So if we use this calculation for year to year, we're going to add the day plus the month, or the month plus the day, depending on how you want to think about that, and the current year, okay? So if we that's how that's going to go. And then we're going to calculate for birthday to birthday, the day, the month, just like that. And that's going to be the same. And what changes is we are going to use the year of your last birthday. Okay. So it's not particularly the current year that you're in. It would be what year was my last birthday in? So let's do an example here. Let's for both schools of thought. So let's use the birthday randomly, April 16th, 2002. So we're going to put that 2002, your actual date of birth, over to the side. We're not looking at that in this calculation, okay? What we're going to use is April and the 16th. So we're going to take April, that is the 4th month, so that is a number 4. And you can see that here in the calculation. I'll use a little cursor there. There's the 4. All right. The 16th is the day. In numerology, we're adding together and then reducing to a one-digit number. Most often, we're attempting to always get to a one digit. There are some exceptions to that, but for this example, we're reducing to a one-digit number. All right. So 1 plus 6 equals 7, and that's what shows up right here is the number 7. Now we're going to use the current year, and the current year that we're talking about right now is 2026. So 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 equals 10. And then 1 plus 0 equals 1. So that's where this 1 comes from. All right. Now we're going to add all of these three numbers together. And that is 4 plus 7 plus 1. That equals 12. Then we're going to keep reducing. 1 plus 2 equals 3. All right. In this example, this is a number 3 personal year, and that would be year to year. Pretty simple, right? So now we're going to get a little bit more mind bending. It just takes a while to get used to this concept. When you understand it, it's easy breezy, okay? But it takes a moment to get there. So birthday to birthday, we're going to use the same date, April 16th. We're going to also use the same month and date, April 16th, and yet we're not using the current year unless your last birthday was in this current year. So the last birthday year. So in this instance, April 16th, last year was, if we're in 2026 this year, was 2025, okay? And that is a number 9. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5. That equals 9. So we're doing the same math here. April is a 4, 16th is a 7, and then 2025 is a 9. We add that together and we get 20. We add that together, 2 plus 0 equals 2. So if this were your birthday and you subscribe to the birthday to birthday methodology, you would be in a 2 personal year, a number 2 personal year, up until your birthday in 2026. On that date, you move into the 3 personal year. Okay. So the way that I like to think about this as well is that it really is about how does this feel to you? You can review, what's gone on in your life for the past couple years and go, how did that play out? Did it feel more birthday to birthday, or did it feel, the calendar year? And what I will say there is that really it is up to you, and it's kind of, if you're born in January, February, even March a little bit, that still gets into the weeds a little bit. But what I'm saying is that if you're born at the first of the year, it's not as significant of a decision as it is if you are born mid-year, or even, October, November, December. That's going to make a really big difference in terms of how you see or how you determine what your personal year might be. Okay, so while you're pondering that, while you're digesting that, we're going to get going. Okay, so what I want to say, and I'm going to say this at the beginning of each of these slides, is this, because I know people will be scrolling through. That's the point of it, to scroll through and get to your personal year. So I'll do the same little intro for each one, which is, I realize that there's a lot of words in these slides, and I'm putting them there so that you can listen to me with some audio, and then you can read, you can dig into it a little bit more deeply, and you could take a screenshot. If you're a note taker, you can take notes. That's the whole, and it makes it easy for me to just have my points in front of me. So, all right. With that said, if you are experiencing a 1 personal year, here is what you might, here is how you might think about it. Here's what you might expect for your year. Just understand that this is a new beginnings year. This is the beginning of a new cycle. Last year was getting rid of things, conclusions, letting go. I would think that there were some dramatic changes that you are getting over, getting through. Getting past or getting used to, right? So just understand that the 1 personal year really is usually a pretty dramatic changing point, transition point in life. It's a high-powered year. It's really all about your drive, your determination, and your initiative during this year. Also, I will do a little side note here that you are experiencing a number one personal year while simultaneously experiencing a one universal year. So you get double indemnity there. You get double the vibe across the board. Now, what I like to also observe, just as a point of reflection for you, if you are experiencing that, that also means that you experience throughout your life and always have experienced doubling down on the universal year and your personal year every year. So every year it's the same. So that might explain a few things in your life about how maybe intense things feel during a year around those specific themes that the year brings. Okay? Just a little bonus thought there. All right. So what I will say though here is that this is a year for new beginnings and for planting seeds. Hopefully you've blown out the pipes from last year in your 9 year and you're ready to start something fresh. I always like to talk about this as a form of a question. So your question would be, what do I want to see grow and blossom in the next 9 years? And the goal here for you is to stand on your own 2 feet as you begin an entirely new chapter in your life. So it really is all about you, and all about you. Often in a one personal year, it has to do with career changes, maybe, or more career focused in some ways. But also it can be relationships in terms of if you maybe got a divorce last year, or maybe you even had a child or got married last year, and it's a new beginning for you in your life that way. All kinds of examples that we could use here, but there really is a very driving force in this year that this is an important time to really make some get some clarity around what you want and how you want to get there. Again, it's the planting seeds metaphor, and you have to decide, what seeds you're planting, what kind of crop you want to grow in this next cycle. It's all about independence. So you're going to be challenged in again, standing strong, taking the lead in your life, kind of balancing ego with healthy self-esteem and being able to take constructive criticism, but also kind of march to the beat of your own drum. As you're going through this, the one universal year, everyone globally is experiencing the same sort of energy. So while there's an alignment there, it can also feel like a lot. So combined there, it's going to be double the pleasures and double the challenges there. So I would just say that you're going to get ready for a pretty high intensity year. And I want to also observe that often we feel in a one personal year that we have to do things a little bit more solo, a little on our own, that we're the only ones who can move something forward. And I want to say that this is actually really true in a personal year. And yet also there's a difference between blazing forward with a my way or the highway. This is the only, with that kind of belligerence, and having a certain way of being in solitude that is healthy. Because the one personal year is actually asking you to be really good with yourself, to be very strong, to be able to sit with yourself in a very healthy way, and to be okay with yourself. So that's another motivating force I find that happens in the one personal year. So if we look at the one universal year mixed with the one personal year, I mean, gosh, talk about new beginnings and taking calculated risks. I say here to re-emphasize that you get double this every year that you have a personal year and universal year. So this time you're going to have very powerful support and sometimes opposition within the themes of this number. So it's about failing forward. It's about It's about galvanizing self-confidence in a very healthy way. It's about taking yourself seriously in terms of taking the lead in your life. All of those very I words, initiating, independence, all of those sorts of things. So the upside is that this can be a very true reset for you. I would say globally, anyone who, if you're watching this numerology video, you're already pretty well informed. I would think that this is not business as usual in our world right now. We can all feel it, we all know it. And so there's even more of an intensity for a really, really dramatic reset for you this year from your nine into your one. So just be ready, willing, and able to really reposition your mindset and move forward with some curiosity and with some, I don't know, innovative energy. The challenge is that you will be challenged with not feeling victimized, overwhelmed, that sort of thing. Again, the one is always pushing you to step up and stand strong. So that is what you're going to be asked to do in your one personal year as you are traversing the one universal year. All right, if you are experiencing a two personal year, I'm setting up each of these personal years with this. I don't know if you call it a disclaimer, but what I will observe is that I realize that this slide contains a lot of words. And I'm not going to read them all to you. And yet, what I will say is that I'm putting them there so that you can listen to me talk about it, but you could also read through it. You can take notes if you're a note taker, take a screenshot, whatever might work for you. Just hoping to give you a fuller scope of what you might be working with during your personal year. So if you are in a two personal year, you're coming down off of a very initiating, new starts, new beginnings year of your one personal year. Honestly, this is a year that is earmarked energetically, numerologically speaking, for rest, for a slower pace. It really is a time to step back, to focus on others, to just give yourself a little moment. It's focused on the things that the two loves to focus on: partnerships, relationships, intuition, emotion. It's all about the slow development of patience. You get to determine kind of who you are from the inside out this year. You get to look at your emotion, your emotional life, your connections with people, how you show up in those connections, with those connections. It's all about patience, love in the business realm. It's about networking, finding your true tribe. So the question that I like to ask for this year is, how do I want to love and how do I want to be loved in return? So that is a huge, that's a an umbrella thought that is always permeating for the two personal year, all year long, all 12 months long, no matter if you use the year to year or the birthday to birthday, it's the 12-month cycle for you. So the goal here is to clarify your emotional boundaries and focus on love and relationships in your life. So I would also say that this is a year that is really can feel, if you are a type A person, if you are an accomplishment driven, go, go, go person, this year can drive you nuts because it is not going to allow that. It is like chill, take a chill pill. And things are not going to happen. There are going to be delays. There'll be frustrations. There'll be two steps forward and five steps back, and one step sideways and five, four, three, two, one steps vertical. I mean, it's just nothing you can count on in terms of pacing. Okay, you can count on the pacing being slow. There might be bursts. I always think of it like last year you planted the garden, and this year you're tending to it. So you have to go out and weed and water and do all of that. But what are you going to do in the meantime while everything's growing? You get to sit on the porch and drink lemonade, or you get to I don't know, go do something while you then come back and check on it. You can also think about it and another metaphor, a totally different one, which is like a gestational period for having a child. You've got this 9 month and in this case a 12-month period of gestation, and you don't want to prematurely give birth to your baby, right? So it's all about really just hanging in, nurturing it, nourishing it, keeping your own I don't know, your own blood pressure low enough to to survive and thrive the year. So it's a really good time for networking for business. If you are single and wanting to cultivate a new relationship, whether it's an intimate one, whether it's a business one, this is a really great year for that. The energy supports that. And I want to really emphasize the fact that numerology isn't just talk, right? It's just not blah, blah, blah. This is what it might be. It really is energy. We don't have to believe in it or even know that it's happening for it to be operational. So these are things that encourage these experiences, these encounters, and that sort of thing. So what I will say is mixed with the energy of the one universal year, you might feel like you're riding a teeter-totter because the two and the one are very, very oppositional energies. Of all the combinations of the personal year and universal year, this one is the most, I don't want to say tense, but it's the most oppositional. They just have different goals totally. Really. So the energy of the two is focused on us, it's focused on relationship, harmony, coming up with win-win scenarios, slowing down, taking it in, kind of doing the divine timing around things. And yet the one is all about independence, blazing forward, initiative, and taking the initiative, leading the pack, and forging ahead and making it happen. So it can really be a delicate balance here. I will also say that the common factor here, though the commonality between the one and the two, and that you might experience with a one universal year and a two personal year, has to do with your being able to not take things personally and to really define yourself separate from others in a healthy way. So the one is like standing on your own 2 feet and really defining yourself. The two is not enmeshing yourself into people pleasing, into no energetic, personal, or any other boundaries. So it's going to be a year that is going to strongly request that you define your boundaries on all levels. All right. So the two personal year, when it's connected with the one universal year, there are lots of opportunities here to reinvent yourself really from the inside out. There's going to be a focus on your closest connections, whether that's your, family of origin, whether that's your spouse, children, that sort of thing, any sort of these intimate connections and these intimate relationships, all the way to business partnerships and business collaborations. This is a time for rest, though. So anytime that you're in doubt, just default to giving yourself the hall pass, the permission to take a break, to rest. The world's going to be spinning all around you because it's a one universal year. Everyone's going to be running around like crazy, and you get the position of being the calm in the middle of the storm. And I want to say, on a higher spiritual level, you checked in to have this personal year during this universal year to allow to anchor some energy for us globally, and I mean that sincerely. So take that as a spiritual mandate that you are contributing to this evolutionary process by slowing down, by grounding yourself, and being intentional during this two personal year. So the upside is that it's really an excellent year for nurturing what you started last year. So it's a nurturing year. It's just again, It's a great year to give yourself permission to do that and not just get frustrated and exasperated that things aren't moving quite at a clip or quite at the pace that you might otherwise want them to. So the challenge here is that you will feel even more sensitive than usual. So if you are a sensitive, and most likely, again, if you're looking at numerology and numerology videos, you're probably an empath, you probably have more spiritual leanings. So in that way, you're going to be even more sensitive this year. It's a great time to tap into that, to learn more about your intuitive language, and to learn how to protect yourself and not be held hostage by that. And this is a really good year to devote yourself to learning that, practicing that, taking classes, reading books, that sort of thing around that very topic. All right. And if you are not a terribly sensitive person, this year might surprise you. You might feel some feelings that you haven't felt before and wonder where they came from. So that can happen as well. So just understand that the two personal year with the one universal year can be a little wonky. It can feel just a little strange, and you have to keep your balance within all the whirling that's going to be going on around you. All right. The three personal year. If you are experiencing a three personal year in 2026, I'll do the setup here, which I'm doing for each of these segments of the videos, which is I realize that there are a lot of words here on this slide, and I'm putting it out there. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I'm not doing the three. I'm sorry. I'm doing the 11 too. My video is covering up certain aspects of this slide, and all right, let me back up. So I'm backing up and backing into the 11. Sorry about that. You'll have to wait for the three for a moment. So the 11, the master number 11, if you are in a two personal year and yet it calculates as an 11, here is what you can expect. So it's hurry up and wait, and it's patience mixed with love, mixed with action. So I always think about this as one part two. So we just talked about the two, the patience, the diplomacy, all of that goes with that, and then two parts one. So go back and look at the one personal year. So you get a pretty frenetic sort of interesting engagement here with the 11 too. So it's patience, love, and networking plus spiritual illumination. What do I mean by that? It means that this is a year where you will experience a lot of, if you're if you slow down enough, a lot of downloads, a lot of information. It can come as challenges because it can feel real edgy. It can feel like a lot. It can feel confusing. So count on that as well. But what it's bringing in is a lot of insight that you probably won't even understand the power that it brings to you until a year later. So just you kind of got to roll with it here, and you're going to be dealing with the yin, the yang, the power of the 11 here. So you have that added intensity, along with it being that slower relationship oriented and emotions based year. You're going to offered the opportunities to kind of blaze forward simultaneously. Sometimes it can be a really profound year of lest I say, fame and fortune. And yet usually it just feels it's not smooth sailing. I guess that's what I want to say. It's just not easy breezy that you go through with it. There's a lot going on in an 11, even though sometimes it can feel like it's at a standstill. So again, if we look at the question surrounding this year, it is how do I want to love and be loved in return? So that's kind of the mantra for the two personal year. And yet, the kicker with the 11 is, and how do I put higher spiritual ideals or ideals generally into practice? So this can be a year where there's just a lot of innovative, inventive thoughts that come to you that you want to act upon. but it's still hurry up and wait, right? It's still kind of the push me, pull you. So mixed with the one universal year, I would just say you'll have to be more intentional about slowing down and about learning how to do things strategically here and not get really impulsive or not just go off the rails, because the 11 is a pretty punchy energy. All right. So the 11 personal year within the one universal year is a very supercharged time. If you are already on the spiritual path, this really is an amazing year for practice and more practice in terms of your chosen modalities or the way in which you practice whatever it is you do spiritually, whether it's I say simply, meditating and doing that and having a different job, like you're a banker and you have your other spiritual practices and stuff. Or if you are in the spiritual self-help healing circuit, it can offer you an up-leveling of those skills and talents. So I would say expect downloads, some mystical, magical opportunities that might trip you, that might come your way, that you might trip into. And with that, there's some challenging circumstances. I don't want to whitewash the whole element. People often think about the 11 as this magic number, the 11, the angel, the song of the angels there. And yes, yes, there is that. And yet it often enters into your life through a door that is opened by some challenging circumstances. Okay, so the upside is that you'll feel like a proverbial satellite dish. So you've got a lot going on. You get to learn to channel that, to channel it productively, to learn how to protect yourself energetically, learn good boundaries. Again, if you are in the healing circuit, if that's your job, if you're maybe a massage therapist or, something like that, I'm just using these as, examples. You get to learn to say no, right? And that's going to come up often and often during this year where you get to establish those boundaries. And the challenge here is that you will feel like a proverbial satellite dish. So the blessing can be the curse here. So just be aware of that, have some intentionality around that, and understand too, this is a great year for grounding practices to keep yourself grounded. And again, you probably already have those practices in your life. And if you don't, you can find out more about grounding practices and start instituting those into your daily. Okay, now we are at the three personal year. And at the beginning of all of these, I'm doing the observation that yes, these slides are they have a lot of words. There's a lot of words here. And I'm aware of that. And so the point being is that as I chat about them, you can listen to me. You can also read a little bit more there. You can take a screenshot. Maybe if you are someone who loves to take notes, you can take some notes. Whatever it is that works for you, but I just want to put it all up there for both of us to see. So the three personal year, if that is what you are headed into in 2026, this is coming off of your slower, patience building, resting time of the two. Or if you had the 11-2 personal year, maybe not so much of the rest, maybe a little zingier. And yet you are bridging into this number three. And the number three is all about expressing yourself. It's about finding your joy, finding your pleasure. This is a year that is earmarked and supported. It supports anything self-improvement related, all things communication oriented, media related, anything having to do with your creativity. So I think that it's also a very interesting thing because the three is about creative self-expression, emotional sensitivity. I always say that the mantra for the three, whenever it shows up, is when you're laughing, you're learning. And this is a great time to step back and go, wow, how can I improve myself on every level? And by improve, I want to be real mindful about or be more explicit about what I mean by improve, because sometimes improving, self-improvement indicates that there's something wrong. There's something to be improved upon that's wrong. And that is not the case with the three. The three is looking at yourself and going, wow, how can I get back to my original authenticity? And that can, I mean, really, let me look at all the ways that all of that has been covered up, and let's sandblast some of that ugh, off of who I really am in my true, with my true authentic nature. So the goal here is to find your voice again, right? To give yourself permission to create, to enjoy creating, and to find pleasure in life and in your life experience. And I want to be very, very clear and careful here. Creative doesn't necessarily mean artistic. I have a lot of people, even people with threes in their numerology chart, who are like, I'm not creative. And then you find out that they own their own business and they do consulting. They do financial consulting, and it's a very creative way that they're doing it. They're doing the aspects of the three, that they're working with people, they're teaching people, communicating with them, counseling them, inspiring them, motivating them, uplifting them. So that's how the three can show up if you're not a what you would call a creative. And yet, if you are a creative, if you do consider yourself an artist, if you are, this is the year where you get support to create that content, to finish the album, to write the book, to finish the coursework, the course that you're going to launch, to whatever it is that you are doing creatively, finish the art project, the installation, those last 5 paintings, whatever it is that you are doing creatively, the three energy is there for it. It is there for you to draw on. So, that is the most positive element of this. If you can swing it, this is a year to relax a little bit, maybe travel a little bit more, go out and do things. It's a time that you've been, you suddenly go, I've always wanted to play the flute. Maybe I take flute lessons. So you go do it. Don't put anything in front of, no, I can't do that right now. I don't have time, or I don't. Nope, it's time to take those flute lessons, and you don't have to go take flute lessons and become a professional flautist. You just have to go do it because it's fun and it makes you feel good. And that can be anything this year. It's go do whatever impulsively calls to you. So it's about just exploring, experimenting, and doing it just for the fun of it, not because it's going to have a result or an outcome or, a monetary value at the end. It's just going to feed your soul. It's going to spark you. It's going to give you that energy that we all love to have, that flow, right? That spark of flowing energy that we get. So, combined with the one universal year, this really holds some intensity all of its own, because I would just say the question here is going to be, how can you use your creativity and your communication skills to establish your sense of independence and tap into your original voice, to your whatever uniqueness that you have. So overall, it can be a very fun and transformative year. But on the other hand, I would say that the caveat to the three is that some people, I've had client after client who comes in and they're like, you said this three was supposed to be fun, and this has been the hardest year of my life. And they'll go into why, and it's because they got to take a stark look at their emotional trauma. Things came up in the trauma department, in the need to heal, as we're attempting to again find our authenticity, find our voice, figure out who we are in that clearest in the clearest sense. Some things can come up. and sometimes a little depression, sometimes some emotional highs and lows, sometimes that sort of thing can make its voice heard in a three personal year. So if you are in a three and it's mixing and matching with this one universal year, I would just say the combination here really encourages you to express yourself and use it for the good of all, right? We're all going to, it's great to do some self work, and yet to share it, to inspire other people by it is really a good combination of this energy. It's an amazing year to find your voice and use it. And again, you can use all kinds of examples for what I mean by this, whether it's that you're a creative and you do this really, truly, directly with your creative work, or it could be that that you're speaking more directly, more clearly, more emotionally with your children, with your spouse, with your friends, with family members, that sort of thing. It can show up in all kinds of ways, but the basic through line of action here for the three is to tap into your joy and communicate and use your creativity wherever it might show up. So the upside is that you will get a surge of creativity. So it's again, it's supported during this time. So you'll get opportunities. And you got to take them. You can't procrastinate. Or the big challenge here is feeling all the feelings and talking yourself out of things, because the three is the ultimate analysis paralysis overthinker, and that will just usher in fear of criticism, major bouts of self-doubt. So those are things you can count on coming in to knock on your door and distract you. And don't let them do it. Just keep moving forward. Say thanks, I see ya, and I'm going to do this anyway. All right. So have fun with that three. All right, the four personal year. If you are experiencing a four personal year in 2026, I'm setting up each of these personal years this way to say, if you've scrolled here, and you're just starting to look here, I realize that this is a lot of words. There's a lot going on in this on this slide and in this slide. And the reason I'm doing it is to just give you something to dig a little bit more deeply as you're listening to me chat about it and go over it. If you're a note taker, you can take notes. If you'd like to take a screenshot, you can do that. Anyway, it just gives you a little bit more of an outline and a little bit more of a chance to get a little bit more information and digest that. So with that said, though, the four personal year, you're coming down from your three personal year. Hopefully you had some fun, you created stuff, you enjoyed yourself, and now you're kind of looking straight ahead and going, no, I got to get serious. I got to figure out if it's kind of like it's metaphorical, but it's also can be real. It's kind of like you take out your life's business plan from the file and see if it's still valid. You go, is this still what I want to do? Is this still my mission statement? Is this still, or do I need to just revise this, or do I need to burn it and start over? What do I need to do? It's really where you're looking at your life very pragmatically and going, and with the common denominator is stability, security, feeling at home, in your body, in your life. It's about feeling anchored and rooted in your home life, whether that's your physical home, your geographical area where you're living. Oftentimes in a 4 year, people can move house, can move geographically, they can build a house, they can do some remodeling, that sort of thing. Anything that has to do with making yourself feel more secure and anchored in your life in that way. Okay. And yet ultimately, this is a systems building year. It's looking at things and then going about defining those goals, looking from a more long-term lens, and setting up what needs to be set up to make your life click along more effectively and efficiently as you move into next year, which will be the midpoint of your 9 personal year cycle. So next year is a 5. So you're prepping for that. You're getting things in place. You're getting things clearly defined and on paper, so to speak. Okay, this year is all about hard work. It is always going to bring in some limiting situations and circumstances. I mean, this is an arduous time. Most people, after they, in the middle, toward the middle and toward the end, and then at the end of the 4 personal year, are just like, oh my gosh, I am exhausted. Please, please give me a rest. So, it's really plugging along. It is doing the work that needs to be done. It's the eye on the prize, which is the longer range goals. And yet, what I will say over and over and over again with the 4 personal year is that you must prioritize your health, taking breaks, get yourself on the calendar because you can, in a 4 personal year, we can really overwork. We can overextend ourselves in that way because we feel like it's all very vital and intense and time sensitive and deadline oriented. And so put that massage on the calendar. Put your therapy session on there. Don't skip them. Go to the gym. Take a weekend where you get to go do an overnight staycation or a little weekend vacation or whatever it is. Make sure that you prioritize that because it's really important during a 4 personal year. And so the question here that I think guides the year for you is, what are my longer range goals and how can I implement them? Right? So it's calling in the reserves and resources. It's doing the research. It's figuring out what it actually is that you want to do. And this isn't magic fairy dust that's going to hit you all at once. It's going to be a trial and error sort of process as you go through this 12-month cycle. So the goal is to get organized, to set firm foundations that make your life easier, satisfying, and productive. Again, this can show up in your work life and it can show up in your private life as well. So combined with the one universal year, 2026 really promises to push your limits in terms of taking the lead in your life, and coming up with a creative and yet pragmatic or rational plan to make it happen. So the 4 is really all about the brass tacks. It's no frills. It is, really the practical, a very practical approach to things, as opposed to the 1, which is a little more impractical, a little bit more guided by energy and ideas and that sort of taking kind of calculated risks along the way. And that can be really uncomfortable during a 4 personal year where you're really wanting some clarity, you're wanting all of those things. It doesn't mean that it'll actually happen, but in terms of, I mean, what is clarity at this point in life anyway, right? So what does that even mean? It's what am I doing today? That's so the only thing I can be clear about. But you're going to be really you're going to be driven with both of these energies to kind of consolidate them. So it's a very dynamic mix when you're able to harmonize both that initiating energy of the 1 and the slow, steady wins the race energy of the 4 personal year. So when we look at those and put those together, the 4 and the 4 personal year, 1 universal year, you're really called to get clear about life goals and have the power really of the initiating 1 at your side. It's really a good buddy to have during this time. It can give you a little more flexibility in terms of your thought processes, in terms of being able to move around whatever limitations there might be, and to be more versatile in your thinking. Because the 4 personal year brings some inside the box sort of tendencies, and the 1 is totally outside the box. So there's a really nice dynamic here where you can really feel that fire under your wings as you go along. So the upside is that you'll feel a sense of resolve to get down to it. Get down to it. So you're gonna, it's like, yes, I got to get this done, and it's gonna feel good when I get it done, right? It may be arduous in the process of doing it, but it's so worth it, right? So the challenge will be bouts of exhaustion and dealing with those limiting circumstances. I'm just gonna say that there's stuff that always happens in a four that just feels so stultifying, right? Just things that it's like, I don't know. An example would be either metaphorically or seriously. It's like writing a contract or doing some paperwork and it being sent back once or twice or three times because this part wasn't done right, or this part didn't get, the rules changed and you have to redo this or something like that. It feels like that. It feels like that kind of frustration. So just be ready for it and just know that you have to have patience around that. And the other thing that I'll close with here is that the four, when it shows up as a personal year, often brings in also some because of the security, stability, that sort of aspect of the four, it can bring in some issues related to family of origin. Like some stuff might come up with the family that is stuff that you've dealt with forever and you would love to deal with it differently. And now you get the opportunity to decide to do that. So sometimes these things can show up in a four personal year. And if they do, just know that they're meant to be there and you're meant to take a different route, not do the same old, the denial or the this or the fixer or the whatever role you play. In that, you get to reevaluate the role and decide to recast yourself in a different role within those dynamics. So not easy. It's not easy, but I find that will often happen. I've had client after client who's talked about that sort of occurrence in a four personal year. So to be forewarned is to be forearmed. All right. If you are in a 4 year and yet you have the 22, if your math calculation brings you to a number 22, that is a master number. So in addition to the four, you've got a double two. So you have to think of it as two parts two. So go back and look at the two. The two is relationships, resting, slow, kind of emotional, developing more of that intuition, and then one part four, which is what we just went through. So take a look at the number four. You get that as well. So it's kind of a mix and match there. And there's a lot going on. And then you get the extra spark of the master number, the spiritual fuel that is driving the 22 for personal years. So it's a time to define goals, to set up systems, to take on your bigger dreams, right? And I will always say that the 22 is about looking more directly at what you want to infuse in terms of your spiritual beliefs or your spiritual trajectory into your material world, into your material life. So once again, I'm doing a little bit of a preface here with these slides that I know there's a lot of information here, and I'm using it to tag team with myself to give you the audio here, the verbal, but I'm leaving it all up here so that you can take notes, that you can take a screenshot, whatever works for you, so that you can get a little bit more of a takeaway there. So what I would say about the 22 is it's about hard work, longer range goals, which is the four, and it's the spiritual focus and advancement, which is the master builder, the master teacher, the teacher of teachers, which is that master 22 energy. And yet when we plug it in or align it with looking at it as showing up as your personal year, It is going to infuse this energy that is going to be pressuring you and pushing you beyond your limits there. So it's what am I building and creating that has long range potential and is reflective of my spiritual mission. So it doesn't have to be huge. I don't want people to feel like super pressured around this. You don't have to start $1 billion business or, write the number one best-selling spiritual book or, whatever. I mean, you can do that. And yet it's mostly about what you can do, feet on the ground, in terms of instilling and putting this into what you're doing and how you're doing it. So I would say that combined with the one universal year, it is a time where you're most likely going to be concentrated on thinking about your legacy and what that might be and how you want to carry forward with that. Now, this is going to be very different if it's going to be a very different feeling if you're in your 20s, right? Or even 30s, then this might feel if you're in your, 50s and 60s. So we're also talking about, what time of life, what phase of life, what season of life are we in? And so if you're younger, this could be more about your business life, more about your career and how you want to direct yourself that way. Maybe you're already retired and it's not about your business. It's about what you're doing in your daily life. And maybe you want to learn more about your spirituality in whatever way. Maybe you want to teach a little bit about it. Maybe you want to give back on that realm. Maybe it's more about infusing your, I don't know, your creativity and giving something spiritually out in terms of creative projects, right? Maybe you want to go and do the photography or do the ceramics and whatever it might be. So there's different ways of understanding how this might show up for you personally. All right. So if we take that 22 4, the 22/4, the master number 22 personal year, and think about it in the context of being showing up within the one universal year, it's just really a lot. I mean, it's a lot that activated, forward moving, leadership oriented energy, and then you want to really plant something that is legacy, more about, again, more about lasting value. What will be there when you depart the earth? What are you leaving behind? It can feel kind of weighty, right? So if there's ever been a year to devote yourself to your spiritual contribution on this material realm, this is it. This is one of them. So the upside is that if you have been on the fence about any higher sense of purpose and you have been wanting to act on it, the energy of this year will provide some new resolve and also offer you some new opportunities for that, right? Sometimes it's a matter of being offered some open doors, some opportunities, hey, what do you think? And, some offerings. Rather than having to make them yourself. So sometimes these things can show up in our path with this energy combination. And the challenge, let's face it, it just can feel heavy. It can feel serious. It can feel exhausting. So pace yourself, please, please, please. And also, again, I'll say it a million times. Put yourself in your calendar, find ways to really, really relax mind, body, and spirit, whether it's by walking the dog, whether it's by getting a facial, whether it's by going and doing, whatever, Zumba, anything, and all of it, like anything and all of that variety. Just give yourself those outlets this year and prioritize those. All right, the five personal year. If you are here listening to the five, I'm doing the setup here, which is this, that I realize this is a slide that has a lot of words on it. And I'm aware of that, and I'm not going to read them all to you. But what I am going to do is leave them there for you to take a screenshot. if you're a note taker, that you can take some notes and just get the most out of this as being able to write yourself something and put it in your calendar, and I don't know, go back to it when you need a reminder about what's going on for you this year. So if you are in a five personal year, it is a fun, adventurous year. It's a year for experience across the board. With sensual experience across the board. And by sensual, yes, sex, it could be sex, but it could be just using your senses, igniting your senses on all levels. All right. So let's also step back for a moment and take a little bit of a longer view, because if you look at the 9 year cycle in numerology, again, 1 through 9, you're now in your number five. You just came off of a number four, which was getting things implemented, the hard work, getting longer term goals in line, but kind of a serious feeling, somewhat taxing year. And now, if you've played your cards right, you might have set things up where you can enjoy a little bit of freedom this year, right? And also enjoy the fact that this is a pivotal year. This is a turning point year in the middle of our, of your, but of all of our, if all of us who might be in a five personal year. It's a turning point. It's a pivot point. It's often a year that really offers a change, a significant change, a change in direction, a change of circumstances that's pretty significant. Okay, so I say that the thematic here is freedom, change with neon with change. Okay, and facing fears. So there's a lot of fear that can come up just in a five personal year. It can catch us kind of unaware. It's like, what happened there? Like, why am I so anxious about that? Or why is that so scary to me? And the five is always going to bring in your fear du jour, whatever that might be, and ask you to do what Joseph Campbell asks us to do, to look at our fear, and I'm paraphrasing here, but whatever room our fear resides in, you need to walk in and have a conversation with that fear. And usually it's kind of like Dorothy with the Wizard of Oz. I always think about that. How long is that movie? Like 3.5 hours or something? And she's running and I mean, it just high anxiety, running from the Wicked Witch and those monkeys, for God's sake. Like, oh my gosh, the scary monkeys. But anyway, I digress. But what I'm saying is she gets to the end of the movie and she's in a corner and she's been running, running, running this whole time. And all she does is throw a bucket of water on the Wicked Witch and she melts. So it's a wonderful metaphor for if she just did that in the first frame of the movie, we wouldn't have had a movie, right? And wouldn't have had that movie at all. But she would have been able to melt those fears right away rather than take so long to do that. So all I'm saying, my only point of sharing that very long, somewhat arduous example is that there can be those things that show up for you in a five personal year, and you can either meet them head on or you can avoid them until you can't avoid them anymore. So I would say that the question that is being asked of you this year is, what does freedom look and feel like to me, and how do I create more of it in my life? So what does freedom mean to you? Sometimes this isn't even a question in our lives. We just go along, right? Until something happens and it challenges our sense of freedom. I mean, if we look globally right now, I think a lot of people are looking at their freedoms and things that maybe we've all taken for granted. So it can have that overarching feeling, and it can be very individual and specific to us. So what is it? More time? Excuse me. Is it more money? Is it a different job, different marital situation or relationship situation? Thanks. Sorry, I've been got a little frog in my throat there. So anyway, it's going to be really offering you those questions and what is freedom and how do you get more of it? And it's going to be about taking action around that. So the goal here is to explore how to face your fears and to be open and receptive to dramatic change. Because I will say, once again, it is like an unfiltered year. Usually there is so much going on in terms of new people, new experiences, new this, and it's kind of like the meteors are all coming at you, and you have to decide which one you're gonna catch and hold, and which ones are just gonna zoom by you, and land where they're supposed to land. So a lot of times there is time spent in a five personal year that is all about kind of, I don't know, exploration, just trying it out, seeing, what sticks sort of thing. And then as the months click by, it kind of gets to the been there, done that sort of element where you need to click into the real change that is going to take place. Okay. So you put this together with the powerful energy of the one universal year. And it's really a time to get out there and dig deep into your unique sense of yourself. So it's about the freedom and adventurousness, and tagged in with that independent and driven, kind of that Aries fiery energy of the one. So the five is about fun and adventure, while the one is about independence and being, taking the initiative with things and really finding your kernel of uniqueness within yourself and marching to the beat of that drum. So it's really a year where you'll be really taking the most advantage of the energy if you rein it in, if you focus, if you have some fun with it. It's really the year to say yes and figure out the rest later, isn't it? Is it Tina Fey who says that? So thank you, Tina. But that truly is some words to live by in this five personal year with the one universal year. So I would just say hang on for the ride. It is dramatic changes. Globally, we are in such a flux time. And so you're going to be riding that wave on the wave of your five, the, the cacophony of the five, which is all about the changes and all about the being versatile and being open to the new, to what's next, right? So the upside is that it really is a great time to explore and follow your curiosity. And this can usher in a major life change, right? If you're open to new possibilities, to changing your mind, to that sort of thing. So the challenge is that it is a powerful call to action. It's going to demand some determination and some focused energy, which is sometimes hard to come by in a 5 year. It can feel very jolty, very impulsive. So I would say don't scatter or dissipate your energies, but also don't hunker down in familiarity and not try things and not explore. Because if there's one thing that the five is all about, it's opt for the experience, right? Say yes and explore the experience, even if it just turns into a fun or funny story. At least you had the experience. All right, six personal year. If you are in a six personal year, you're at the right place. And I'm doing a little bit of the setting this up to say that I know that this slide has a lot of words on it, and so I realize that I'm not going to read them all to you, but I'm putting them in front of you so that as you listen to me, you can take notes. If you're a note taker, you can take a screenshot, whatever it is, but I wanted to give you a little bit more depth there for you to experience as you think about your personal year as you're heading into 2026. So this is a year that's all about relationships. It's a time to take on some responsibilities in your life, because last year was your, free flowing, sexy, sensuous, hopefully, five personal year. And now you get to kind of focus on others and on home, family, whatever your domestic responsibilities might be in that realm. And it's all about responsibility, relationships, and feeling at home. So it is about your home. Often in a sixth personal year, you'll move, you will do a remodel or renovation. You can move a house itself or move even more dramatically geographically. You can do anything related to your house, right? In terms of that. And yet also it's really a reflective time. The six in numerology is about home, family, duty, service, nurturing, a little bit of self-sacrificing energy that goes with it. And yet, when it shows up as a personal year, it's more about the marriage and divorce energy. That is also what the six is known as. And I don't want to scare you away. I don't want you to go running and screaming, oh my God, marriage and divorce, this is horrible. It's not horrible, okay? Really. But I'm just saying, oftentimes, seriously, in a sixth personal year, people will get married. They'll put a ring on it and they will get married. And then sometimes people things will come to a peak and things are, not moving forward in a positive way and they'll get a divorce. So it's often where things peak one way or the other. And it's good because it's like getting off um, you know, getting off the middle ground, getting off the fence, so to speak. So I say the question for this year overall is, should I stay or should I go? Or should it stay or should it go? So it's a very self-reflective time where you get to look at all these 5 years from your first, from your year one and your personal year that you started things and new beginnings, and you're into year six now. And how's that going? And it's a reevaluation time of all this experience I've had in these 6 years. Now, who am I? Maybe in those 6 years you've had a child. Maybe there's been a death in the family. Maybe you've had an illness. Maybe all kinds of things, obviously, right? Life happens. And so we're looking at evaluating, who am I really? What are my values? Do I have the same mindset? Do I have the same belief systems that I thought I had? And so it's a very reflective time personally to evaluate that and how you care for yourself. It's about self-care, and looking at how you speak to yourself internally, how you treat yourself in that way. And then it reverberates out into all of your relationships. So that goes with, spouse, children, family of origin, friends, family. I said family, work family is what I was trying to get at. So it takes time, right? It takes a full 12 months to really kind of massage all of this. So the goal here is to get serious about how you love and how you want to be loved in return. It's often a time where we will turn to some therapy around our attachment style. If our marriage is faltering, maybe we ask for couples therapy, that sort of thing. It's also a year in terms of, just relinquishing those themes and moving over to another lane, which is your business. And it's a very magnetic time for finances, for business, especially if you are involved in anything service related, anything having to do with children, with relationships, marriage, with the elderly, with pets, animals, that sort of thing. The six is a very supportive energy around that. So mix this six personal year with the energy of the one universal year. And it's a very, very magnetic time for both business and your personal relationships. So it's going to be a time where you're really evaluating where you do and where you do not take responsibility in your life for yourself and for others. So a major theme is going to be how effective you are at standing up for yourself across the board in a well-modulated way. Now, if you're someone who's, kind of that bullying, belligerent, it's only my way or the highway, then it's going to be a year where you might have some opportunities to reevaluate that, to soften that. Or if you are an overgiver, if you're an enabler, that sort of thing, it's going to give you those opportunities to re-engage that or rethink those elements as well. So if we put that sixth personal year together with the one universal year overall, again, you just can't escape it. Relationships are the key thematic this year. Very, very relationship oriented. And the six is also quite idealistic. It's very justice seeking. So if you have a propensity to be politically active or activated, and the global energy right now is with the one, and the global energy is very, very needing, that kind of advocacy. You may be really called that direction as well, if this is something that speaks to you anyway. So the one invites a major new beginning that is going to underlie your year. So it's going to be, to me, in tandem with that six. There's going to be a major shift, and hopefully in the most positive way in your relationship life, no matter where that might fall for you. Okay. So the upside is that self-care is highlighted. It is a great year to get to know your true values, to relinquish levels of control, and to take care of yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It is your hall pass, your golden ticket, whatever you need for that. I'll write you a prescription. Just take care of yourself. Okay? Seriously. So then the challenge here is really in feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Often in a six, we feel very, very, very responsible. And yet, if you're also, if you're listening to this, you're more than likely one of those empathic people who is more involved with and cares about what other people are thinking and how other people are responding to things. But if you are someone who isn't as involved with that, the sixth personal year is going to ask you to step up, and be more responsible. Be responsible for your emotional engagement. Be responsible for your actions and inactions, that sort of thing. So the sixth personal year is a wonderful time to nurture others and to be nurtured yourself. All right, here we are, seven personal year. I'm doing the setup here for each of these personal year forecasts by saying that I realize that there are a lot of words right here in this slide. I do understand it is a word salad here. So the reason for that is that as I go through things, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'd like you to have the visual as you're listening. And if you're a note taker, give you an opportunity to take notes if you would like to. If you would like to take a screenshot, that sort of thing, so that you just have a little bit more a little bit more in terms of resources as you move through your seven personal year in 2026. So if you are entering into this year, you're coming off of a sixth personal year, which was about others, which was about nurturing, which is, responsibilities, all of that. So now you get to kind of turn back to yourself. You get to contemplate your own navel a little bit. It's a year to pause. It's to probe those deepest parts of yourself. It's a very spiritually activated year. Okay. And what I mean by that is that the seven personal year is a pause. It is a resting time. It's kind of like the two personal year, but with a spiritual emphasis rather than a relationship emphasis. All right. It is about deep inner work. It is about knowledge gathering, digging deep. It's about organizing and planning. It is not about doing. This is a time to be a human being, not a human doing in a seven personal year in particular. Okay. So the question here is, would the real me please stand up? This is a very deep dive. I find the seven can feel very profoundly deep in a way that you can't even put words around it. It's stuff that is going on internally and in your spiritual soul-based world that you can't put words around, even for yourself. You can't explain it, and you don't have to, you don't need to. It is that time where I feel that some whatever needs to come up in terms of, if we want to use the word shadows, those deeper layers of our psyche, of ourselves, begin to bubble up to the surface in a 7 personal year. It can feel very, I think honestly, it rivals the 9 personal year in feeling very challenging and difficult on a personal and spiritual level. So the goal here is to look below the surface and reveal how to step into your next level of personal growth, which would be kind of the self-realization, self-actualization, however you want to word it. It's deep. And so the tendency might be to tap dance as fast as you can and avoid anything having to do with digging deeper. This can be a year where where you drink too much, where where you do anything superficial, where you're just scrolling, how many hours a day, whatever it is that gets you out of actually having to sit with yourself and be good with yourself and be just be present with yourself. So that's assignment number one. And assignment number two, there's a wonderful numerologist named Juno Jordan, Dr. Juno Jordan. She's passed away now, but her books are amazing if you are numerologically inclined and want to read more. Dr. Juno Jordan is her name. And I will always repeat what she says about the 7 personal year, which is that it is the year to develop the right state of mind. And that kind of sounds like, whatever, so easy breezy. And then you start kind of looking at it, and Yoda kind of comes in into the mind, because it's very much a very Yoda-like statement, because you start looking at that, and it's a deep dive. What is the right state of mind? What are our belief systems? How did they get there? Are they working for us? What do I have faith in? What do I trust? All of those are very 7-like questions. The 7 is always analyzing things and always moving toward faith and trust that there is a bigger picture, that your soul knows exactly what it's doing, and that there are no mistakes, and that just let go, just go with it. You don't have to force something, because also the 7 is very skeptical, very controlling. So there's a right brain, left brain sort of back and forth that goes with that 7 energy. So when it shows up here as a personal year, you're going to have a little bit of ping pong with that. So combined with the 1 universal year, this year can offer you quite profound personal and spiritual awakenings related to really how you show up in your life. Are you taking the lead in your life? So your overall mission here is to explore the depths of that very real soul's calling. I just know a lot of people right now who are suddenly going, I just don't believe in things that I believed before. I don't, this thing that was so important to me is not important to me anymore. So those are things that I'm finding are coming into play. And for you, particularly in the 7 personal year and a 1 universal year, are really going to be, you know, working very, very directly with that energy. So again, 7 personal year within the construct of the 1 universal year. So like it or not, it really is a spiritually activating year. It is a deep dive into your individual shadows with that backdrop of humanity, the global community also revealing their collective shadow sides. So hang on to my best friend always says, hang on to your cotton socks. So hang on to those cotton socks, because you're going to need them. You're going to need them this year. And what I will also bring up for the 7 personal year is it is time to slow down where you feel lower energy. So expect that. Sometimes people are like, what happened to me? I just don't, I would rather go home on a Friday night, get into my gym jams and have a nice warm cup of tea and read my book rather than go to the bars and go out with friends and do that sort of thing. It's a time where you want to go more on a retreat than something, something else. So it's a time for learning spiritually, but also it could be for your work. If you want to retool your resume, if you want to look for a different job, it's time to retool and learn something that's going to bridge you into that direction. It's also a great year to take care of your health. If there's anything that needs downtime, like a dermatological procedure, dental work, or something like that, where you didn't want to take the downtime before, this is the year that really supports taking that downtime. And anything having to do with improving your health, and that can be again, mind, body, spirit. It can be diet related. It can be exercise. It can be meditation. It can be getting some energy work. Anything around those thematics are really supported in a seven personal year. So the upside is that this is going to leave your year you changed, really to your core and at your core after this year, unless you've said no to it, and then you're going to feel really disenfranchised. If you don't follow that, you're just going to feel really kind of down, kind of depressed at the end of the year if you don't take the plunge. So the challenge is in staying the course rather than avoiding that inner work. So we're here for you, and it's all good. It really is all good. But allow yourself the digestion time. It is a slow moving, lower energy year for you. All right, eight personal year. I'm doing a little bit of a preliminary with each of these. Sorry, I'm losing my words. So let me back up. All right, hi. You are here for the eight personal year, and I just want to acknowledge that this slide has a lot of words on it. And the point to that is so that I just have everything in front of me to reference, but also so that as I am speaking and as you're listening to it audibly, that you can, if you're a note taker, take some notes and keep those tucked away in a notebook somewhere. You can take a screenshot, whatever works best for you. I just wanted to give you a little bit more deeper information there for you to have as a takeaway. So with that said, eight personal year, here we go. Now you're coming out of a seven personal year of contemplation, of getting things ready, of getting things organized, of prepping yourself, mind, body, and spirit to head into this eight personal year. It is a power year, baby. I mean, it really is, and it is the beginning of what I call a 3-year push time. It is a 3-year transition cycle that starts for you this year. It is money and empowerment boot camp, boot camp, boot camp. Okay. I don't know why I had to say boot camp 3 times, and now I just said it a 4th time, but I'm just making the point. I'm driving it home. This is it's gonna feel pretty intense, okay? It's financial growth, it's personal empowerment, and it is endurance. You will need all of the rest that you bottled, I hope, last year in your 7 personal year, and you're gonna use it in your 8, because it is all about, the question here is, how can I empower myself on every level? It's a testing year. The 8 is a tester. It is truly like the teacher you love to hate. It's that teacher who was rough on you, who thought was picking you out personally and picking on you and making things hard for you and not giving you anything positive, no positive feedback. But at the end of the day, at the end of the class, when the teacher gave you an A and said, you know what? I had to push you. I had, because I knew that you wouldn't give all that you could give unless you were pushed. So it's that kind of energy that the the eight has for you. It loves you. It wants the best for you. It is really tough love. It is tough love. So the goal here is to take yourself seriously, to get your financial life and every other part of your life under control and step into your power. Okay. So on the one hand, the eight is the finance number, and we're often very much thinking about constantly going to bed every night and waking up every morning thinking about our finances, okay, and an eight. And yet that is just part of what the eight personal year is all about. I think underneath it all, at the very get-go, it really is about your empowerment. How are you empowered or not in your life? And this could be, on this level, it can be this is your year to soar and to make your business, go public, and, on that very high level, eight energy is all about that. And yet, most of us are not going to be that person. What we are going to be experiencing in an eight is is making a decision, and I'm going to use just a couple of examples here. I'm just off the top of my head. Let's say you've been in an abusive marriage or relationship for a long time, and you just can't get out. This is your year to get out. Let's say you're realizing you got a drug problem or an alcohol problem or something like that. This is your year to go to rehab. This is your year to get serious about it. Let's say, those sorts of things can be about empowerment. Let's say you've been living living with your parents for X amount of time, and you've been wanting to get out. You've been wanting to save that money. This is your year to do it. So it's those sorts of things that the eight personal year can bring in terms of money, empowerment, career, all of those things. And it can come in on the relationship front as well, empowering yourself there. So mixing the energy of that initiating and transformational one universal year with the energy of the eight is really interesting to me because in my way of looking at numerology, the eight and the one are the most business-oriented energies overall in numerology. We can split hairs around all of that, but if I'm just being rudimentary there, the eight and the one are very business-driven, are very accomplishment-driven numbers. And so I would say this year in particular, your eight is going to be laced with even more kind of rocket fuel around that the one universal year is providing. So the events of the year can leave you feeling really victimized if you let it, because again, it's not easy breezy. It's not warm and fuzzy. It's gonna really be up in your grill. So the point really is to get serious again about yourself, get creative, be resilient, have faith in yourself, and then move toward, you have to take action. You can't just wish it into reality. This is an action-based year, and no matter what setbacks are there, okay? Both the eight and the one often have setbacks. They often, make you work for it. They make you be creative about how you get there and really commit to it. So both of these energies point to major expansion and or challenges with career and with your finances. All right, so if we stay with that combination of the eight and one, it supports really taking action of all kinds around your empowered sense of purpose. It's going to push you beyond just how am I making money? It's going to be, how do I want to make money? What does money mean to me and what doesn't it mean to me? What is money? What will I do for it and what won't I do for it? What are my values? What are my ethics? How can I align that with how I want to live my life and how I want to create my financial abundance, right? So the upside here is that you can be a powerful catalyst right now. You can make amazing strides in your financial life. This is all at your fingertips, but once again, it really is going to be a matter of you devoting yourself and taking the action around it, and kind of not taking no for an answer, if you know what I mean. So the challenge is in stepping up to the challenge because it can feel very intense and it is going to push you. It's going to push your buttons. It is going to get you in your deepest trigger points. And if you expect it and really come to the table ready to play that game, it's a really powerful year for you. And what's interesting to me, I've worked with so many people for so long now, and the thing that I've noticed about people who are eight life paths or who have eights prominent in their numerology profile is this. To work successfully with the eight, if we look at it, it is the number of infinity, right? And it really indicates flow, the flow of abundance. And there's no there when we try to grab it, when we try to keep it, when we try to hoard it, when we try to that's when the flow stops, right? Even in the visual representation of the eight. So the eights who I find are the most powerful and the most balanced, actually, as well, are the ones who love the game of money. And they look at it that way. They look at it as this big game. And not in a trite way, but in a way that they enjoy it. They love playing. They love playing the money game. And they know how to play it. And they know that and they have so much fun with it. They know that they can lose this over there and it just comes back over here. They understand that the money is a representation of all kinds of things, but of energy. It's an energetic resource. It's all of those things, and they treat it that way. And that is the ultimate expression to me of the eight, is understanding how to play with it and not be afraid of it. And we all of us have huge issues around money. We just do. No matter what it is, we have it. So this is a year where you really get to look at those issues. It'll come up to the front of the line, that you get to look at what is your relationship with money and how do you want to, and is it good or is it not so good? And if there are blocks there, if there are things you'd like to improve upon, it's a great year to research that and learn how to do that as well. Nine personal years. So if you are in a nine personal year, and I'm doing the setup here to say that if you're looking at this slide and you are saying, "Wow, that's a lot of words, Felicia," you're right. So each one of these slides, I made a determination that while I speak to you about your year, you have this as a visual, that if you're a note taker and you like taking notes, that this gives you the opportunity to do so. If you're someone who wants to take a screenshot, you can do that as well. And you can just get a little bit, you can listen and read at the same time. So hopefully you'll have more to take away with you in terms of supporting you during your nine personal years. So nine personal year, you've made it. You've made it to the nine. You've just survived the eight, that very, very kick in your hiney, kick in your buns. And number eight, that powerful year, money year. And now you're moving that into the what's next year, into the number nine. It is the end of a cycle. It is a year of transition. It is a year of transformation. And now here's the thing. I have so many people, so many clients who come to me and they're like, I don't want this. This is horrible. This is going to be awful. Everything I've heard about the nine is it's just devastating. And please, 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 no. The nine is a beautiful bridge. And it is, and yes, of course, it can hold some pain, some emotion that have to do simply with grief, with the grieving of the loss of something, or the grieving of the passing of something moving through your life. But we all, this is what life demands of us, right? It's all part of this growth process. Because if we just hang on to what was, there is no growth. So I mean, I know I'm not saying anything brilliant and nothing that you don't know, and yet I want to really emphasize that. So the key component here for the 9 personal year, end of a cycle, you are wrapping things up, you are letting things go, and you are making room for new things to enter. Now, the issue is, and not to again be patronizing, but I'm going to say it painstakingly, the thing is, things will exit, but there won't be new things taking the place of the old things immediately, unless you put them in there, and then you're going to struggle with that. So okay, so this is my biggest numerology advice is, and I will very often use this example about the relationships. It's like, do we know, or have you been, or do you know someone who is in a relationship, a marriage, whatever it is that they don't want to be in, and they finally decide to get a divorce, but they ask for a divorce, and then they start living with the new person who they're already seeing, right? They don't even let the door slam, and before they've filled that space with somebody else, right? With somebody else, they don't give themselves time to process, time to be alone for a moment, time to grieve the loss, time to look at the ways in which they were responsible for certain elements and aspects of the relationship success and the relationship failure, right? So it's not giving any time for that. And usually those relationships that come in right after just, are a rinse and repeat of the one that just went out the door, right? So I use this as an example for the 9 personal year, because it really is begging you not to do that. And most of the time, it's not allowing you to do that, but basically it's saying, please don't do that, because you'll pay the price. You'll pay the price more than you want to pay the price for that. So it's being able to hang out in a liminal space for a while. And that is something that most of us don't do well. We want some clarity. We want something there. We want it in front of us. We want to know what it is, whatever it is. And the 9 personal year says, yeah, let's just clean that closet out, metaphorically, but don't go and buy 20 new outfits and hang them where the old stuff was. Just leave it. Leave it for a minute. Let it air out, right? So this is a year that's going to challenge you with that. The question is, how can I let go of everything I no longer need in order to make room for positive changes to enter my life? And those usually really, truly don't enter until next year, in the 1 year. What this year is all about is exfoliating, excavating, getting rid of, letting it take an exit, all of the releasing, surrendering, letting it go, sloughing it off, all of those words. It's kind of like a retrograde time as well, if you're astrologically inclined. It's like it's a time where we're often heavily into review, into looking back, into doing taking stock, taking inventory of where we've been and where we are and where we want to be going. So the goal here, though, is to really allow all that stuff to fall away so that you'll be ready for a truly exciting new phase in your life, because the universe is always wanting to give you bigger and better. And even though it might not seem like it at the time, right? So this is the year of completions, and it can come with some losses, with endings. that can be anything from relationship splits to death, accidents, illnesses, all the way to births of a baby, to graduation. Those sorts of there's a celebration there too, and I often think about the ninth personal year being more like a graduation. It's a commencement time. So it's as though you're in your last semester of college, right? You still have to get up and go to class and you still have to take the exams. And if you have you have your part-time job bartending and you got to go do that and have those social engagements and all the things that go with it. And yet you know that it's kind of this bittersweet feeling that at the end of the semester, you and your friends are going to be walking across that stage, getting your diploma, and everyone's going to be going their own direction, right? Going their different ways, starting a new and different life. And some you will remain in contact with, and many you won't. So it's that same sort of thing, and that same sort of bittersweetness, and that same sort of you got to go through this process before you can get to the whatever those new beginnings are, and you're not there yet, right? So that is the energy, and that's what, that's how this year usually feels. So combine that with the one universal year, and it's a kind of interesting cacophony of energy here because I mean, transformation is guaranteed because the one is about new starts, new beginnings, initiation, forward moving, while the nine is just the opposite. The nine is letting stuff go and all of that. So it's a really interesting, you're going to be in this petri dish where everything's moving forward, but you need to let things go. So you might feel a tension there, you might feel a push and pull, but understand, to me, priority is for you to be mindful of what's going on around you, but give yourself the permission and the space to let the things go that need to be going. So it can feel a little discombobulating, I dare say. So heads up. If you're feeling a little wonky this year, it's not just you. It is your nine personal year engaging with that number one universal energy. So it really does feel wonky, in my opinion. While the world is starting a new cycle, you have one foot in and one foot out, one foot in, one foot out. And your more immediate mandate is to go about all that closure, the completions, everything, and letting things go. And this can collude and collide with what's going on in the external world as well. So, just know that it's nothing is separate, right? We're all moving here in this morphic field together. So you get to see how that shows up for you, okay? So the upside here is it is a magnificent opportunity to make dramatic and necessary changes. So, I mean, I've known some people who've been wanting to do some kind of significant change for 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, 20 years. I've wanted to build that house for 20 years. I've wanted to get a divorce for 20 years. I've wanted to just start my, get a painting studio and start my painting or whatever it is. I would think that this is a lot of energetic support for something that feels much more life-changing. It's not just a comfortable move over here. It's going to be a little bit more dramatic and in that way very lovely in terms of, wow, this is a change I've really wanted to make. And now that I've made the leap, I'm so happy I did, and sorry I didn't do it, years before. But there's no sorry involved because we're doing it now. So the challenge is to be just hanging on out of fear, hanging on out of, just hanging on for dear life to what was and what we all know isn't working, but again, to take the plunge and to have the faith that what's next is going to be very amazing. And it's really a time to cultivate more of a sense of curiosity. Like, I'm very curious what's going to happen rather than fearful. And we can't, we're humans. We're going to have some fear. We're going to have the ups and downs of the emotions and all that go with it. And yet, if we could, look at it more directly from a container of curiosity rather than I just want things to be clearly definable and all of that, then we just make better use out of this letting go energy of the nine. It's a time also for forgiveness. The nine is about universal wisdom. It is a time to forgive yourself for anything that you haven't forgiven yourself for, to forgive others. And it's a time to really tap into whatever makes you feel fed and nurtured and alive spiritually. Like if you whether it's creative pursuits, whether it's volunteering, whether it's anything that you want to give out to others feels really nurturing and empowering in a nine personal year and can kind of take you out of your own stuff long enough to kind of balance out those feelings, right? A lot of times we feel really, I don't know, victimized during when we're losing things or when things are changing or when things, something like that. I got fired from my job and poor me. Well, then go, help other people do things, and we can kind of put it into balance in that way. That's all I'm trying to say. There's always someone who needs some help and support, and it puts our woes or our losses into perspective. And if our losses are massive, then we can share that with others and allow ourselves to get support in ways that maybe we wouldn't ask for help or support otherwise. All right, that is the end. That is the end. And then you get to go back. You get to go back to the number one after that. And if you would like to know anything more numerologically speaking, please go to FeliciaBender.com. I've got everything numerology there. I do sessions. I teach a certification program if you're very interested in numerology and want to know more and gain a level of expertise around it. I do offer that program. It's ongoing. Do charts, readings, and I have several books at Amazon as well. So anything and everything numerology, just take a look at FeliciaBender.com. And I hope you have a really fantastic, I hope you have a fantastic year.